Yes, yes, yes. Q&A. We are live. We're going to do the thing. We're going to do it. I'm yours truly, Diva Laree, representing for UNA, University UNA, Republic. Yes, yes, yes. UNA. Yeah. All right, so we got to get this thing started. I want to welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. All right, let's get this thing on the roll. Yes, yes, yes. Q&A. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get this thing started. Let me turn my camera on. TikTok, Halo, YouTube. Where are you? Let me see if I can find YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right. So we're in the house now. Welcome everybody joining us today. I'm yours truly, Dee Valerie with UNA University and UNA Republic in this open live session. Welcome, 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 and welcome. Hello, everybody. I hope y'all are well on this day. We're gonna get into it today. We got a heavy topic. We got a little bit of a heavy topic today that I want to go into, and we're going to do that. I want to remind everybody that we do have the UNA summer season is coming into session on the 16th. All right, we're starting on the Sunday, the 16th, and we have 3 classes every week. All right, this is a true law university. We want to welcome you in. We're going to give you some serious information on law. Okay, so we told you about power of the pen, where you're learning how to write contracts. You're learning how to recognize contracts when people are suing you. All right, so power of the pen, very powerful session. You want to be a part of it. History, what you never learned. We're making sure we don't repeat this mess that we are in. That's why you got to know the history, the things that you had never have been taught. Who is who? Who are the real Europeans? Who are the real so-called Indians? Who are the real black people? Who really are the people today that it started out to be? These titles that we're learning. You're going to learn the difference between black and white and what they originally meant. You're going to learn who the Europeans were. You're going to learn who the Moors were. You're going to learn who and what the skin color of the original so-called forefathers and who really owns this land even to this day. So we're going to go deep into it in history, what you never learned. And we've got temple cleansing, cleansing of your mind, body, and spirit. I can't go into it today about this mind, body, and spirit thing because the topic is a little bit heated for me right now because I've had some people not pay attention to the spiritual side and then they get themselves in a mess and they're not understanding or recognizing that they can do all this paperwork on this side, but until you get the spiritual side cleaned up, all this paperwork, you're going to have more and more paperwork piled up on top of paperwork because you didn't clean the spiritual side up. All right? We're going into that this season. We're talking about temple cleansing, how to cleanse your mind, body, and spirit. And that's important when you're doing this paperwork. People come in and they just, oh, I just want the paperwork. Just give me the documents because, that spiritual stuff, that ain't my kind of thing. Well, then don't do none of it. Don't do none of it because if you don't have the spiritual side intact, you're going to keep dropping paperwork after paperwork, and it's never going to be a remedy for you because you don't understand what's really going on on this side, the spiritual side where everything begins. Okay, so if you're not ready to get that, then this class is not for you. Don't forget, we also have the computer mastery program. We're showing you how to program and showing you how to design websites like a pro and quickly and automated. All right, so if you want to be a part of that, this is our computer mastery department for UNA. Please leave a link in the bio. You can go, and as a matter of fact, we have the link in the bio. You can go and get the calendar. All right, sign up so we can do a free consultation with you and get you enrolled in either the computer mastery department or the law department. Okay, it is up to you. And I told you all, with the computer mastery, listen, yes, we're going to give you a certificate. You're going to be certified. However, what we want to make sure you're able to do is make money after you leave the class. All right, but your certification comes with those zeros that's in your bank account. So I want you to enroll in that computer mastery class so we can get you going, get you up into the UNA University, and get you rolling on building and designing websites. Okay, so now let's get into this today. Some of y'all might have seen the topic. It says giving birth to monsters. This is going to be a pretty heavy topic tonight. And I'm going to give this information with love. Okay. You'll know my topics are they tend to be heavy. This is one of them. And I want to give it with love and with as much information as possible. But I'm going to tell you what the facts are. I'm going to tell you what the law is. And I need y'all to understand that I do not have cognitive dissonance when it comes to the law. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you straight, and I hope you can recognize it. It's going to be hard for some of you all, but I want you to know it's with love, okay? Giving birth to monsters. And I had a couple of different topics on this subject, but it dealt with planting seeds and who's planting seeds in you. Now, I've gone into this about men and women and what our natures are. All right. We talked about how women have not been respectful of the nature of the male. I've also talked about how we have a spiritual side, and then we have this physical vessel side, this meat, these, what you're seeing here. So the spiritual side, that spiritual side is who we are at its core. Okay. This physical side, we're talking about male, female, these suits that we're wearing, these vessels, they have their own nature. All right. And men have their nature, women have their nature. And when you're not respecting that nature, then you end up contracting in such a way that is disrespectful to the being you're trying to contract with. And then you get burned because you're not respecting the nature of the vessel. All right. We talked about how males, this vessel has a pull. Strategic, welcome. Thank you for joining. And thank you all my people in YouTube for joining. I want y'all to like and share and subscribe and follow and all that great stuff. But when we're talking about a male and the male vessel, we want to recognize that there's a spiritual side where we're connected on a spiritual side. But if you're getting with a male that is not connected with his spiritual side, you're dealing with somebody who's operating from the flesh. And in most cases, that's what you're dealing with, somebody who is operating from the flesh and not from their spiritual side. Well, so what's the big deal? They operate from the flesh, from the spirit. It don't matter. I need y'all to understand something. This flesh, once again, has its own programming, and it's very difficult to overcome it. When we're talking about the spiritual side, that's that little voice, that soft voice that if you're not being still, you can't hear it. If you're talking loud and you're listening to all these other voices inside of you and all of these other yapping voices outside of you, you can't hear spirit. And most of us are not grounded enough to really hear spirit. And when you're talking about a male, there's a flesh pull that definitely has a stronger pull than the spirit in most males. And we're talking, if you want to be clear on it, we're talking about that sex drive, that other brain, that other brain. And if they are not close to spirit, that other brain will override spirit. I hope y'all understanding what I'm saying. If you don't, drop a message so I can make it even clearer. So we're going to get into this when we're talking about giving birth to monsters. And I have to preface it with, understanding the spirit versus the flesh, because the spirit, when we're talking about spirit, spirit doesn't need light, it doesn't need water, it doesn't need food. Spirit is at peace. But when you're talking about the flesh, that's a whole nother set of beings that are within you. And if you are not close to spirit, and I mean close to where you can listen and hear and understand how to respond, then you're going to do things in this dimension that are going to cause issues and problems. Now, when we're talking about giving birth to monsters, we're talking about the woman who gets with a male who's not close to his spirit. And once again, I'm going to say to you, the vast majority of men out here are not close to their spirit in any way, shape, or form. So what is the big deal about them not being close to spirit? When you're talking about these men who are here and they are disrespectful to women, they are hateful, they beat on them, they verbally abuse them, they do whatever, they take advantage of them, they sexually mistreat them, or they're overly sexed, meaning they have so many different women, they're womanizers. Okay, some people call these a monster, someone who's just very disrespectful to, let's say, the feminine race now, or just disrespectful to society, period. Just disrespectful to society, period. Now, you got to understand that this type of male, in his actions and his energies, has written his DNA. I need y'all to pay attention to me because I'm going to go deep. I'm going into some molecular structure right now. With his actions and his mindset, he has written his DNA. So your thoughts and your energies, your actions write your DNA. They create energies such that when you are putting your energies on anybody else, let me say it like this: with his semen, that DNA, any DNA in his semen is of the DNA that he has written. If this male is a monster being, if he is a negative being, if he is a hateful and disrespectful being, that energy is written into his DNA. I hope y'all understanding me. Follow me when I'm talking about this. All right, so it says I'm frozen over here on TikTok. Let me see something. Welcome everybody on YouTube. Thank you for joining. All right, so it says I'm frozen. Am I still frozen on TikTok, or can I continue? Let me know if I'm still frozen or if I can go ahead and continue over here on TikTok, please. Because I'm getting into this and I need to make this clear and for us to understand about our DNA. And thank you, Fatty Eye. So what I'm saying to you, going back to this and reiterating in the event that I was frozen, what you think, what you say, and what you do that is writing your DNA. And when he writes his DNA, whatever sperm that is coming from him, that DNA is of him. It is a contract. It is a seed. I need y'all to understand this and why I'm going into this. So if this guy is a monster, whatever seed that he plants, he is going to be planting a contract in soil. And the only thing that's going to come of that contract is who he is. Let me explain, because some of us are not getting this. We think that, oh no, it's just, the baby is going to be innocent. I need y'all to understand this, and I'm going to go into that about who the baby is, who and what the baby is, who the baby and what it is. Pay attention. When we're talking about when he's planting a seed in the woman, let me get into what a seed is and what this contract is, and so you all can help me in understanding this. If I have a seed that comes from a lemon that was on a lemon tree, pay attention now. If I got a seed that comes from a lemon that came from a lemon tree, if I take that seed and I plant it in the ground, is it possible for me to get an orange tree from that lemon seed? Somebody answer me in the comment section. YouTube, TikTok, somebody give me an answer. If I take this seed that comes from a lemon, that comes from a lemon tree, can I possibly plant this lemon seed into this soil and get an orange tree or an orange seed from this lemon seed? Does it happen? Somebody, please. Somebody answer me. Because this is going to help us to understand what it is when a male plants his seed into a woman. I need y'all to understand this now. So it's not possible. I don't get an orange seed or an orange tree from a seed that's coming from a lemon. Why is that important? Because I'm just letting you know the only thing that's going to grow from that lemon seed is a lemon tree with a whole bunch of lemons on it. If you got a male who has, and understand this lemon seed is a contract. It has laws in it. It has energies on it, such that when it's planted, the only thing that's coming from this contract is what's written in the contract or written in the seed. This is the same thing when I'm talking about a male. Who is he? Who is he? What was he? So is this being, this male, is he a monster? Is he a womanizer? Is he disrespectful? Is he hateful? Is he mean? Is he abusive physically and emotionally? Is he a monster? Because if he is, the only seed that he's going to plant is a monster seed. Now, let's get into this, because he's going to have sex with a woman, and he's going to plant a seed in her. And if he's a disrespectful male, if he's a monster, then she's going to have the seed of a monster in her child. I need y'all to understand this, because I had somebody to say to me, she was like, oh, the baby is a beautiful spirit. And I'm going to say something to you. And I know this sounds harsh. I know it sounds mean. I know it sounds disrespectful. But when we're talking about a monster, please don't think that it just popped up like, ta-da, I'm a monster. No, that's not how it works. It starts off as a baby. It starts off as a baby. And I'm making notes because I want to make sure that I get all this information out. All right. So you think so? I'm having this conversation with somebody at dinner, and they say to me, "Oh yeah, the baby spirit, it's uh it's a beautiful spirit." And I'm saying I don't see that because I understand this game. I do not have cognitive dissonance, and what I know is that a child, a baby, is nothing more than an old spirit coming back in a new vessel. Y'all pay attention to me. A baby, a child, is nothing more than an old spirit coming back in a new vessel. That's why I tell y'all, your children are your twins. Your children are your twins. They are your ancestors. They are your past and they are your future. They look like babies, but I know what they are. They're contracts. They're contracts. They're old spirits coming back in a new vessel. And if you are not careful about who you've allowed to plant seed in you, you might be giving birth to a monster. So where do monsters come from? People try to act like, oh, well, they was just born in this society. Man, that's not how that works. That is not how that works. If you've had a male, this is why they tell you to wait before you have, and I'm talking to my sisters, wait to see who he is before you have sex with him and allow him to plant seed in your stargate. Because if this is a being that is demonic, that is not worthy, and you allow him to plant seed, then you've allowed him to plant a demonic seed in you. Some of y'all women ain't getting, oh, that's my baby. He's a good baby. I love it. Okay, nobody's telling you not to love him. But do you recognize who he is? I need to step forward because I gotta talk about this. And again, I want to say this with love, but I need to say this because it needs to be said. And especially with women and their sons. The womb, as they say, and we talked about where sons come from, and I know I'm going to upset a lot of people uh, with this, but you women, y'all need to know what's going on. You need to understand where your sons come from, how they come about, and you can tell me one thing all day, but when I know science and I know these laws and I know I can see things, I told y'all I'm an oracle because I understand the law. Sean, welcome. Sean says I speak the truth. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. I know it's hard, but I got to make sure you women have the truth and you know what's really going on. All right. So when you got to understand that a son, and I go deeper into this. By the way, we have a tour coming up. It's called the Fifth Dimensional Woman. The Fifth Dimensional Woman tour that's coming up. We're gonna be in Chicago and Atlanta, Houston and Dallas and New York. I want y'all to be ready for that tour. But when a woman, we're going to go deeper into this, but basically, so you can understand, when we're talking about a male, all males come from chaos. And this is not a diss on my brother. We just got to tell the truth and the facts. They come from a woman that was under duress at the time of the pregnancy, not when she was giving birth, but the first. And I need y'all to understand that this woman being under duress, it doesn't start with, oh, my boyfriend was beating me and I was, he was being disrespectful and rude and he was a narcissist. It doesn't just start there. It goes back to childhood because you getting into this relationship with this kind of male is indicative of what went on in your childhood, what you saw, what you were raised with. So it doesn't start just where the baby's father, it starts long before him. So it comes from a woman who's under duress. And we haven't been taught this because we've been made to think, oh, the male chooses the sex of the child. That is not how that works. So I'm going back because I need to talk about the soil of the woman. Her soil, meaning her mind. This is her soil. So the same way I go and plant this lemon seed into the soil of the earth, and I'm going to grow a lemon tree. It's the same way a male plants his seed into a woman. What is going on with her soil is going to determine the sex of that child. So I know when I'm looking at a woman, especially she's got 2, 3, 4, 5 males that she's giving birth to, she's under duress. Now you can tell me whatever you want to, but me knowing law, me knowing what I know I can see what happened in that. I can see what happened in that household. I don't have to be there. I know because I know the law. And you can tell me whatever you want to tell me out of your mouth. Well, nah, he's a good the husband. Okay. That's not what the universe is saying. That's not what your womb is saying. All right. Why is this important? I've seen a lot of women who will make all these excuses for their sons. And there's the problem. See, I don't even, I've said this before and I will say it again. I can't even look at the male and blame the male. I don't. Because 100% of them come from a woman. My question is, what's going on in her soil to create this monster? See, when we get the woman in order, when the woman becomes accountable for her energies and her actions, the male is automatically going to come into order. And this is once again not a diss on the male. It's not. I'm telling you that everybody wants to start off with, well, he need to be like this and he need to be. Where in the hell did this monster come from? Where he come from and how do we stop creating them? That's what I'm talking about. Then it's not even a matter of what the hell he did. What did she do to make sure he didn't get the opportunity and ability to be the monster in the first place? Who are you allowing to plant seed in your Stargate? Women? So going back to this, the birth of the monsters. And let me say this because not at any point am I saying all males are monsters. I didn't say that. All males come from chaos. Yes, where the woman is under duress. All males come from chaos where the woman is under duress. But not all males are monsters. Some of our brothers are very in tune with the spiritual side. Some of them who may not be in tune with the spiritual side, they still have enough decency and compassion and respect to know how to treat other people in society. But where do these monsters come from who are hurtful to women, who are and children, who are disrespectful to the rest of the society, who think that it's okay to be disrespectful and harm and hurt and steal and rob? Where these monsters come from? Well, they come from the woman. They come from the woman. And so now, let's go back now. Let's go back to those seeds that I talked about. Because remember, this grown man came from a child. He was a child originally. This is why I'm saying to you, when we're talking about a child, first of all, let's be clear, there is nothing innocent. Y'all, oh, he didn't do nothing. He didn't. Y'all don't understand that the baby, that's the most powerful being in the room. The baby is the most powerful being in the room. Because he can't talk, or because you think he's underage, you think that he can't contract, but I need y'all to understand, he created his dimension. Oh, I'm ready to go deep now. Now y'all gonna really diva off her rocker. What did she talk about? The baby created his. You created your dimension, and you still create it to this day. When somebody's talking about, oh, I didn't ask to be here. Yes, you did. You asked to be here, and everybody else in this dimension contracted to be in this dimension. And all of the energies that you are receiving are due to the contract that was put out before you came into this dimension. Okay, let me break this down. So I want to, because I didn't want to go this deep into it, but I have to go into it because I want to make sure that you all are clear on what I'm saying. Let's take some examples. Let's say the preacher, the pat, we know about this issue with the Catholic Church and how children are molested and what have you. Let's say this priest is molesting all of these children that he can get his hands on, that he's big and bad enough to molest throughout his life as a priest in this church. Now, he dies, and we, because we don't know law, think that he got away with doing what he did. But let's understand that once again, as spiritual entities, we don't die. The vessels expire, but you got to come back in this mess, especially if you put out energies. And guess what? Those energies that you put out, they must follow you. I'm going to say this again. As spiritual entities, we don't die. We don't die. The vessels expire. But your spiritual energy or your spirit must come back. If you put out energies, those energies will follow you. That's why they tell you, you better be good before you die. You're going to go to hell. This is your hell or your heaven, depending on the energies that you have put out. So this preacher or this priest that does all of this molesting, he got to come back. And when he comes back, what y'all think he gonna pop up the ta-da? I'm a grown man now. No, that's not how it happens. He's got to come back in a new vessel as an old spirit. Am I still breaking up? Someone says my Wi-Fi is bad. And I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi or if it's TikTok. I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi or if it's just TikTok. Are you guys getting me over here? Sean, you get me over here on YouTube? Because TikTok says I'm breaking up. Am I still breaking up TikTok, or can you guys hear me clearly? So I'm going to repeat this. All right. As a spiritual entity, you don't die. The vessel will expire. And then when your spirit has to come back in here, it's coming back. It's going to come back in a new vessel. It's not going to come. You're not going to just jump up and, oh, I'm in a grown person vessel. No, you got to come back in that new vessel. But those energies are coming with you. The energies are coming with you. So if you put out energy in another lifetime and you put out all kind of dirt, what's the best way for that the universe would see for you to get a return of your energies if you were somebody who left here molesting? You left here molesting and hurting children and harming children. What's the way that the universe allows you to receive the energy that you have put out than to give you got to come back in a mother that's going to allow you to receive the energies that you put out. I say to you, the baby is not innocent. They were here before. They were here before. It's an ancestor that's coming back into this. And I know y'all don't get it. I know that's very heavy, but I need you to understand when we're talking about where do monsters come from? Where do they come from? This child, I know what it is. I'm not saying it is a monster. I'm telling you, this child has a contract. There's a contract. Part of this contract is coming from the father. Part of it is coming from the mother, and part of it is coming from the child itself. All right? And yes, thank you, Jay. You can catch me. I am streaming on YouTube, so you feel free. Robert, thank you. Robert says YouTube is always better. So if you all want to catch me on the YouTube stream, please go there. I am streaming there. So what I'm saying to you is that there are contracts. Again, DNA is a contract, just like the seed. That lemon seed has a contract, and that contract is going to determine the entity that shows up here in this third dimension, the same way with the sperm coming from a male. If this male is a demonic being, when he plants his seed into that woman, please understand there's demonic energy going to come back with that child, not to mention the fact that there is the spiritual entity coming back in that vessel as well. There's a lot going on in that child's vessel, and it is not a new innocent being. It's not. And I'm saying this not to say that just because it came from a demonic being that we can't change it, but if you don't recognize contracts, then yeah, you're going to raise a monster, because you're going to be given all kind of excuses. And I see this too much with women and their sons, where they're giving all kind, oh, he's a good boy, they just picking on my son, and they just causing problems for my son, never being accountable for the fact that, first of all, who is his daddy? Who is his dad? What does his daddy do? Because he's gonna mimic what his daddy does. Again, I say to you, your child is your twin. So let me say this to women. If your child is having issues, especially your son or your daughter, a lot of times it's the son, he's reflecting you. He's a twin. What you got to recognize is he got your DNA, your seed, your contract, especially women, your children, daughters and sons. They were with you in your womb when you did all your dirt as a child. They've been with you the whole time. They've been with you. So they saw your contracts. They saw you when you did stuff that your mom and your daddy told you not to do. They saw you. They saw you when you allowed this guy to beat up on you. They saw you when you did this dirt over here. They were with you. So please understand, when you give birth to them, you're giving birth to your past and your present. And they are going to mimic your past. Those of y'all who have children, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They are mimicking it because they were with you. They were there. They are your twins, and they've seen it all. So let me help y'all understand something. All right? We're going on law. Today I'm getting into the spiritual side of law. When you do anything, when you have any kind of emotions, any feelings, when you speak something, when you think something, every cell in your body sees and feels and hears it at the same time. See, y'all get the y'all thinking y'all cells, oh, it's just me. And it's no, you got every cell in your body has hundreds of thousands of other cells inside of those cells. Every cell in your body has hundreds and thousands of other cells within those cells, and they see, they hear, they feel, they see what you're going through. So let's understand this. In your ovaries, you got eggs or ovums. They've been with you since you were born, and they've seen and heard and experienced everything that you went through from a child on up. They've been with you. So when you have birth and you give birth to your children, those are your twins, they was there. They saw it. They heard it. They felt it. And so when they're born, They're going to repeat the stuff that you did as a child, and they're probably going to do it to a more extended level than what you did if you don't know how to properly train them and teach them. I hope y'all are hearing me. Because when I'm telling you, they heard you, they saw you, they felt you, I'm telling you that you endowed them with a contract. So they got your contract. They got their own contract that they created from wherever they came from. They're your ancestors. So they got their own contract. Then they got your contract, your DNA. And then they got the DNA coming from a father. I'm letting you know that this being is a very complex entity. It's not innocent. And if you don't know how to rewrite contracts, if you don't know how to rewrite the contract in the child, then you're going to create a monster. Because, you know, a lot of people come in here and they're making excuses. Oh, my son, he's a good boy. I'm going to get on this because now we've understood there are several contracts going on in this child, that this child is not innocent. It's not to say that it's going to be a monster, but I'm going to let you know if you got seeds coming from a monster, well, you on your way to having a monster. So let's understand these seeds now. I'm going back to the lemon seed. I hope y'all following me. Thank you, Sean. Sean says my son is just like me. I hope that's a good version of you. I'm going back to the lemon seed. All right. As I spoke about, the lemon seed is a contract. When we plant this in the soil, the contract is going to start to unfold into the third dimension. Third dimension meaning you're going to see a tree. You're going to see a tree. It's going to have some lemons. And those lemons are going to be yellow. And they're going to have a specific taste. Okay. The same thing when a male who is of a specific type of DNA, a contract, if he is a male that is not of good stature, if he doesn't, if he's just not good people, you got to understand that this DNA is going into your child. Okay. Now, I'm going to start here before I even get to his seed going into your Stargate. Here's the deal. Again, this is why they tell us as women, you're supposed to wait before you start having any kind of sexual encounters with a guy. Why? Because when you first meet him, he has a representative. You've heard of that. He's got a representative. He's not telling you who he is. Y'all got to understand, I'm going into this because I got time today. You got to understand, when I go back, there's a spiritual side and there's a physical side. This physical side for males speaks very loudly. And when we talk about his other brain, we talk about that lower brain that overrides everything. This thing starts talking, and if he doesn't have any kind of self-control, well, forget it. This thing will talk when he ain't even thinking about it. His mind up here be on something, and next thing you know, he got a saluting soldier down here, and he don't know why. Understand this. This nature has a serious pull. And this is why women need to start respecting that, because his physical body is saying, I'm supposed to plant seed. I'm supposed to plant seed. That's what his vessel is saying. I got to plant this seed. Y'all be talking about, oh no, he'll be a good husband and he gonna come home to me. That's not what his vessel talking about. His vessel got a whole nother language. Y'all not even getting this. You on one side of the street, he on the other side of the street, and he want to run across the street just to greet you because, oh girl, you I want to come. I need y'all to understand. By the time he get across the street, he done sexed you in his mind 3 times. By the time he shake your hand, y'all done already made love. You just, well, he would be a good father. He ain't even think about that. His vessel is saying, I gotta plant these seeds. And this is not being disrespectful to the male. I'm saying to you, respect the nature of his vessel. You're trying to put him into something, some kind of contract when his vessel is talking. But as a woman, it's your responsibility to protect the stargate. It's your responsibility. Don't nothing get into this dimension unless it comes through your womb. Nothing gets into this dimension unless it comes through your womb. And so when he's coming to you, his job is to plant these seeds. And if that means lying to you, if that means telling you, baby, yeah, you look good, if that means telling you, yeah, I marry you and I just be with you and only you for the rest of my life, if that's what he's got to do, his vessel is going to get him to do what he needs to do because we got to plant these seeds. Meanwhile, you talking about, oh, I need a new house and I need a car and I want to have a husband. And he's like, I just here to plant these seeds. But whatever you're talking about, that's fine. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, girl, marriage, yeah, for the rest of life, yeah, that's fine. I got to plant these seeds. And the problem is that you still talking to his representative. You haven't seen the real him. So after 2 or 3 weeks or the second date, you done jumped into bed with this dude, and next thing you know, you pregnant, and you don't even have an idea of the contract of the seed that he has planted in your stargate. Woman, you are responsible for the stargate and for whatever comes into this dimension. So when I see a monster, I ain't even worried about the monster. I want to know why in the hell this woman allowed this being into this dimension. I want to understand what's going on in her mind. Let's fix that because he gonna get what he needs to get. But if that woman comes into order, when she comes into order, everything is going to come into order. What's going on with her? I'm going to go into why going back to the source is so important. Going back to the source, that's the woman. Why is that so important, Diva? Because why we can't just tell these men to do what they need to do? These men need to do, okay. I'm going back to this. The problem is her, not him, because she was the one making up all the excuses for him. See, I'm gonna give you this story. I had a situation where I had a client, and she had a son, and her son would she had a couple of sons. She had really everything she had was a son, and one of them was in jail. Well, two of them went to jail, but one of them in particular, he was in jail because for some sexual misconduct. Now she had already, before he went to prison or jail or wherever he went, somebody had complained about him doing some sexual misconduct, whatever, before he went to jail. Then he did something else. And this time he wasn't getting off. He wasn't getting off with her excuses. All right? So he goes to jail. He gets out of jail. And something happens whereby her son was babysitting, or he was set to babysit a little girl. And she was telling me about how he was going to be babysitting her. Now, here's my issue. And I need to take a deep breath. I need to woosah because this is sensitive for me. All right. Your son is a monster. And you know full well that he doesn't have control over himself when it comes to sexual issues. If you are not going to protect the society, or at least if you're not going to put him in check, if you're not going to put your son in check, then the least you can do is protect society from this monster that you have created. Now you got this little girl here, and you know this man has been in issues. I told y'all, the first time you get some kind of sexual misconduct issue, okay, I'm going to raise an eyebrow, because you know how women, he would never do it. But the second time, damn it, you know full well what you got on your hands. And if you are making excuses, then the problem is you. So you got this being here that you know is a monster, and you're going to let him babysit this little girl. I'm saying to you, even the little girl is not innocent. But the mother who allows this, you know you got a monster. The least you could do is protect society from this monster that you have created. Baby, you know what? I know you got to babysit, so what you gonna do? I'm gonna always be there. I'm gonna make sure I'm there while you know, because yeah, okay. Protect society from what you have created. See, women want to be fighting. I'm gonna fight for my baby. I love my baby. You don't have to do that when you have planted the right seeds. But no, you want to make excuses for this being that you created. You don't want to be accountable for this being that you created. But the minute society comes down on his head, you want to blame everybody else. And y'all women out here, woosah, please, spirits, love. Because I've come across situations where women who are dating a guy who is clearly a sexual deviant and want to pay money to get him off, and oh, I'm going to pay for his court case. The problem is you, because you're enabling. When the woman gets her mind right, the male will come into order. When the woman gets her mind right, the male will come into order. So let me go into this because I want to make it clear why going back to the source, the woman, is very important. All right. I want to introduce you to some information that I found on one of my in my research about how there was a study with someone who had, let's say they had diabetes. All right, they had diabetes. And they go in and blood is drawn from them and put into a vial. This person who had diabetes. And so the person who had the diabetes goes on this diet where they're eating properly. They're not eating, white stuff, potatoes and fries and sugar. They cut that out their diet. They also cut sugar or salt and all these other things out of their diet to the point where they cleaned up their vessel. They don't have these symptoms of diabetes anymore because of the way that they have changed their diet, their eating, and everything else. So now these symptoms have gone away. So they test this vial that was outside of the vessel before the vessel was cleaned up. And how come the blood in the vial was cleaned up automatically? How come the blood in the vessel cleaned up automatically when the body was cleaned up? What I'm trying to let you know is that anything of you will always sense you. This includes your children. So when you change you, when you clean you up, this is how magical this dimension is. When you clean you up, they are automatically going to feel it. Once again, and Mimi, I'm not sure what you're saying. Please expound. Thank you. When you clean your vessel up, anything that is of you is going to sense it. Anything got your blood in it, it's gonna feel it. That's why. See, y'all heard that thing where they tell you, uh, I don't know what kind of practice this is, but they tell women, oh, you want to control him, put some of your period blood in his spaghetti. Yeah, that's gross. But you understand, anything that has you in it, your blood, your children, and anything that has your DNA in it, it's going to sense you when you change you. So when you change you, the woman, when she changes herself, she's going to clean up her entire lineage. The whole lineage is going to be cleaned up just because she cleaned up herself. That's how important it is to go back to self and go back to source. So when you got this monster out here running around doing whatever he's doing, he is a reflection of the woman he came from and the women who are around him. He is a reflection. Because as soon as those women get themselves cleaned up, he's going to come into order. If I have any comments, Jay says, yes, it's spiritual. Our bodies are temples. Yes. I'm now so much better than TikTok. All right, I am says, wow, so much better than TikTok. Abdul says, would she be considered a monster too? Abdul, yes, because you got to understand, women, I told you, the male, anybody, when she has a child, she is, the child is a reflection of who she is. That child is her twin. So yeah, if he's acting up and he's out of order or what have you, he's reflecting her. The deal though is with women, they don't show outwardly the things that are going in like men do. That's the difference. A woman is going to think all of these thoughts, and she's going to have, whatever her issues are within her, it comes out in her offspring. So her children are going to come out, and especially if it is a male, it's going to outwardly reflect what's going on within her. So yeah, she would be considered a monster too, and then we're seeing the monster in her with her children. I hope that makes sense. I hope you understand what I'm saying with that. All right. Sean says, oh my God, she went there. What was that? Where did I go? Tell me, Sean. I missed that. But if y'all have any comments before I get out of here, I want you all to please let me know. All right. So I want to get on this. We talked about how when a woman or anybody really, but when something is coming from you, especially with women, because then we start talking about the mitochondrial DNA. If you're not familiar with that, look it up. Mitochondrial DNA. That DNA is going to allow her to communicate with whatever it is of her, regardless of where it is. This is why, like, if a woman is, if something happens with her child, she senses it. That's the mitochondrial DNA. It would happen with my mother all the time. I was in South America. Something happened to me. My mama come call me. Hey, what you doing? How you doing? And she didn't recognize that something had happened to me, but she's calling. I just want to see how you doing. Make sure, because my body called out, the blood called out. And so my mom's up here in North America. I'm in South America, and she calling me when something happened. I remember I got stitches. I had to get stitches from somebody. And she calling me, "How you doing? What's going on?" And she didn't recognize why she felt the need to get in touch with me so badly. Well, it's because the blood was calling out. I am of my mother. And anything that happens to me is going to call back to her. And likewise, when she changes herself, I feel that, I sense that, and it changes me. Not to mention, see, I need y'all to understand something. I'm gonna go into this a little bit. I want y'all to remember we got a tour coming up. It's called the Fifth Dimensional Woman. All right, and this is making sure that women understand who they are, where you come from a molecular standpoint. What is our history? What actually happened? How did we end up in this position? What are your powers? How do we need to act when they come back online? The Fifth Dimensional Woman Tour is coming up. All right, I want y'all to be a part of that. So getting back into this, I want to go, we're understanding now that whatever is of you, your children, or anything that has your DNA in it, when you change you, it is going to respond. All right. And remembering that your children, they're with you the whole time. They were with you when you were a child, when you were doing them dirty deeds, when you were doing those things and you thought nobody could see, your child saw you. They were there. They didn't just come out of nowhere. They was with you in your ovaries, and they saw everything you saw, you said, you did. They saw it. They were there. So don't be surprised when they're doing things once they're born. All right? When they're doing things that are similar to the things that you did and you thought nobody saw you. See, this is why, we got to become accountable, women, for who we are. You got to become accountable, because when you're not accountable, all you're doing is making excuses. Oh, that's just why he would never do. He's you. She's you. She's your twin. And she's just reflecting everything that you did when you thought nobody saw you. All right. Now, getting back to this child, how do we change the contract? Pay attention. Pay attention. How do we change this contract that's in this child? Let's understand what's going on. We talked about how there's the mother, her contract, there's the father, his contract, there's the child, got their own contract. They've been contracting. They contracted to get back into this dimension. All right, so we're understanding that. Now, how do you change the contract? Let's first of all understand that the womb is the first classroom. The womb is the first classroom. Now, I want to go back before I get into that and say, first of all, you can remedy a lot of the issue by making sure that you take time to get to know who the being is that's getting ready to plant seed in your Stargate. If you're not doing that, women, the problem is you. Don't be mad at all these men out here and they talking trash to women. They said bad things. They're not the problem. You the problem. Don't, oh, my baby daddy ain't it. He's your reflection. Whatever you say your baby daddy is, he is your reflection. If you didn't take time to know who this being was before you let him plant seed, the problem is you, because he did his job. His job was plant seed. If he go off and do whatever else, that's what his nature is, and you didn't respect it. Problem is you, because you are responsible for the Stargate. Don't nothing get into this dimension unless it comes through your womb. All right. So remedy a lot of the drama by being aware of the being that's about to plant seed in your Stargate. But let's say you got this this child that's coming. Please don't just think it's innocent when you've had this man that beat on you, that disrespected you, that verbally abused you. Your child saw that. He saw it. They saw it. They were there. Oh, they weren't born yet. They saw everything you see. Every cell in your vessel sees everything you see. That's why they say the womb is the first classroom. What are you teaching your child? Because now, ma'am, now, especially if you're giving birth to a boy, you've got to understand that he's coming about because you didn't have love for self. Pay attention. Pay attention. This is not a diss because some of y'all women, y'all hear this and y'all want to protect. Oh, my son, I love my son. Didn't nobody say nothing about you didn't love your son. I said that the law says you didn't love yourself. You didn't love yourself. You didn't have self-love. That's why he came about. You were under duress and you allowed somebody to mistreat you and abuse you. But let's understand, this didn't just happen with your baby daddy. This stuff happened in your childhood. Those issues that you didn't get cleared up before you had sex with this being. So now the thing is, this is why I go back to the woman. To clean yourself up. Who are you allowing to come in your life and treat you or mistreat you? The problem is you, because as soon as you get cleaned up, the only thing you bringing into this dimension is righteous beings. That's it. But where do we change this contract? Well, we start with self, changing you, because remember, when you change you, whatever you think, say, speak, do, you've changed your DNA. You've changed your contract. And as you change your contract, especially as the child is still within you, you're going to change their contract too. But even once you give birth to them, it's going to be a little bit harder to affect them. But when you change you, they have to change as well. Going back to why it's so important to go back to source. Remember that vial that came out of that person with diabetes, and when the person with diabetes cleared themselves up, the vial, the blood in the vial that wasn't even in the body was cleared up too, automatically, because they are in sync. They communicate with each other. That's the same way it is with you and your child. Remember, where does it start? With the woman. Clean yourself up, and whatever this child is doing, they got to come into order. I want to talk to y'all about something. I want to talk, remember I talked about what you think, speak, and do. That's going to be a direct effect. It's going to have a direct effect on your DNA. So let's talk about how we think and what we say and what we do. And part of that, you've heard stories about people who pray. There's this song where this woman says, where she says, I had a praying grandmother. She talks about all these things that she was doing. Sexually, she was a deviant. She was doing all of these. She was all into prostitution and stripping. And she said, but I had a praying grandmother. What is prayer but a focused thought, where you're focusing on what your desire or wish is? That's what prayer is. And when I say prayer, I know y'all think about the church. I'm not even talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about praying and knowing how to manifest what you're wanting to manifest with your prayers. It's a focused thought, set of thoughts. This is how you change your DNA. This is how you change your DNA. And I'm talking to my sisters because, you know, the church has prayed, P-R-E-Y-E-D, on the fact that women have this serious ability to affect beings outside of them. And we do it through prayer. This thing that's called prayer that's been bastardized. But this is how you change your DNA. And when you change your DNA, you change the DNA of everybody who is of you. And I need y'all to understand something. It's going to heavily change your children. And anybody who's close to you, you're somebody who you're married to or dating or whatever it is, it's going to heavily change them. But it's also going to change strangers and how they treat you in this third dimension. Prayer. We're talking about a focused prayer. I'm not talking about what they taught you in church, whether you want to make it meditation, prayer, or whatever you want to call it. But this is when you start changing your own DNA with your thoughts, your words, your actions, your vibratory frequency, your beliefs. And prayer is a part of that. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. If you have any questions, I want y'all to put the comment. Abdul asked, is it just for is it just for women? The fifth dimensional woman. No, if you're a brother and you want to come to that session, I welcome you. We welcome you. Because this is not anything. We don't listen. This is not like, you know how like Albions want to come into the NAACP meetings and all or whatever. This is not where we're talking bad about our Albion, our male friends. We love y'all. We love you. And when you come to the session, what it's going to help you to do is have a better relationship with her. All right, because nobody's saying not to have a relationship with the male. We're saying you need to respect who he is so that you can have a better contract when you're dealing with him. Am I just totally frozen on TikTok? Let me see who else had a question. Sean says, my eyes are wide open. Thanks for breathing it, breaking it down for us. Thank you, Sean, for being here. One of our members for UNA. I hope I have you in class, Sean. Let's see. Would she be considered a monster too? Yes. Yeah. The woman, just going back to that question that was asked, would the woman be considered a monster too? Once again, yeah, because she has it within her. If he comes from, listen, thank you for that question. If he comes from within her, then he is only reflecting what's coming from within her. So yeah, he's a monster that's coming from within her. And then I want to get on this and then I'm going to get out of here. But you'll have a lot of people who will say that, oh, he's a monster. He's a this or he's a that. And she is so innocent. Listen, understand this. The woman is not a victim. And I've talked about this on several of my sessions where, you're talking about a woman who's being abused or what have you. She's not a victim. She drew him to her. She drew him to her. So if he's an abuser and he's a this and that and that, he's a narcissist. And y'all let me tell you something. I hear people say that term all the time. It's like, you can't tell me about somebody being a narcissist in your face without telling me you're a narcissist. When they say, tell me you're a narcissist without telling me you're a narcissist. When you tell me about somebody else who's a quote unquote narcissist and they in your face, I know who you are because they are only your reflection. So you're telling me about energies that you've put out in the past. You think you're telling on them, but you're telling on yourself. And so, again, when we're talking about these males that come up, that they're monsters, well, if he is in her third dimension, well, she's got to be a monster too. But she ain't the one who was doing the abuse and things, but he the one who was beating her up. And she did some other dirt that's reflecting what he's doing to her. She did some other dirt that is reflecting what he's doing to her. Not to mention that, once again, he don't just come up in her life just by happenstance. If she's allowing this kind of male to be in her life, you got to understand she don't love herself. For whatever reason, she's experienced something in her past, in her history, with her parents, as her childhood rather, where she's allowing this kind of being to be in her space. Because a woman who loves herself is not going to allow that. It's not going to happen. She loves herself. She has, she's balanced spiritually. She's balanced emotionally. She's balanced physically. She's not going to allow that. She's going to have peace. And anybody who's in her dimension, in her face, they're going to bring peace, or she's going to allow them to leave, period. Does anybody have any questions? Let's see. Thank y'all for joining me on YouTube. I guess this must have been a good session because TikTok is tripping. And all right. So listen, let me see. Fatty Eye, I think I'm pronouncing that right, but says, I appreciate the information you shared. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, even through the lagging on TikTok or whatever is going on. Thank you for being here because, we've got to get this information out. The more of us know it, male and female, the better we can start contracting with each other. All right. For the information that I put out, it is not necessarily for relationships because I don't necessarily deal with relationships. But what I have had is that, I've had too many couples to say your information helped our relationship because there are things that we have been taught in this society that are just backwards, information that is hidden. And the more we know about who we really are, the molecular side, the nature side, the spiritual side, then the better we can contract with each other and have better relationships. So Jay says, no, you leave me with my own questions to reflect on. What questions do you have, Jay? I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. Let me make sure let me see. Is spiritual, our bodies are temples? That's the only thing I have. What question do you have, Jay? But yeah, our bodies are temples, and that's why, speaking of temples, we got temple purification in the summer season for UNA University 2023. All right, summer season 2023, UNA University, the Law University. Okay, I want you guys to enroll. All right, so we've got spiritual cleansing, or temple cleansing is what it's called. And basically we're going into, what are you eating? What are you drinking? Who are you sexing? What are you saying to yourself? What are you listening to? All of this stuff is important in cleansing your temple so that you can start getting the remedy that you're looking for in this third dimension. All right. Now, we always have this in our law session because of the simple fact that we have, when we're dealing with the paperwork side, you got to have the spiritual essence in order. A lot of people are not getting that. They just think, oh, I'm gonna do some paperwork, I'm gonna get this what, and then the spiritual essence is off, and they want to, well, why my paperwork didn't work, but this one worked over here? Because her spiritual essence was in order and yours is not. You getting blocks because you're not cleaning this up. And I know it seems like they are not related, but they are so related because everything is of you. Everything is a reflection. So if you get going down to the courthouse in the county and you mad at the police and all these other people and the sheriff and you want to cuss them out, well, the truth is the block is within here. When you clean it up in here, they are going to help you do what you need to do. They're going to help you put your documents on public record. But if it's not clean, they're going to block you. And that has to do with self. I hope you're following that. Any other questions? Jay, what's your question? Did you have a question? I want to make sure I get it before I get out of here. The session tonight was giving birth to monsters. You all can go and find us on TikTok. TikTok, go find us on YouTube under UNA Republic. I want you all to enroll, all right? If you want a free consultation to enroll for the UNA University, send a message, all right? Send us a message. Or find the link in the bio, leave your name and number, or you can find the link in the bio and that'll take you right to our calendar and you can book a date. It's a free consultation so that we can enroll you in the UNA University. We'd be glad to have you. Remember, we have the Law University, temple cleansing. We've got contract writing this season. We also have history, what you never learned, and we're going deep. We're going deep on history so we don't repeat this mess. So that's our law department. In our computer mastery department, we have, we're teaching you how to program or create websites like a pro and automate them. We're talking about text automation, email automation. We're talking about, the designing websites and then being able to make money at them right away. I want y'all to know I love you. I love you. I love you. I love. Abdul says you're so right. I know, Abdul. I know I'm right. I know. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Abdul. I appreciate you. I love you. Remember, we this is starting on the 16th is when the university kicks back in for the summer 2023 season. If you want to be enrolled, find the link in the bio. My people on YouTube, y'all can find the link in our link tree. It should be linked here. Cordy, hello, hello. I King, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your beautiful knowledge with us. I brought the book, excited to receive it. Thank you, Jay. Glad you got the book. Jay got the UNA beginner law book. If you don't have it, find the link in the link tree or the bio. All right. Leave us a message for my people who are not tech savvy. If you want to just leave a message with your number and your name, we'll call you and have a free consultation to enroll in the university. And don't forget, we're starting on July the 16th in the 2023 summer 23 session. Now, I want to know if y'all have any comments before I get out of here, all right, on giving birth to monsters. Sisters, I'm holding you accountable. I'm holding you accountable. Listen, once we get ourselves cleaned up, the brothers are going to clean up automatically. The people who are coming in your dimension, if you got men who are ill-mannered or whatever coming into your dimension, the problem is you. Because when you clean up self, they're gonna straighten up. Period. I get it. No, they ain't the problem. No, they're not. You the problem. Because all the men that come in my dimension, they are respectful, they are loving, they are honorable, they have integrity, and they show nothing but love and respect to Diva Laree. You are supposed to have that type of people coming to you. But the only way you can do that is if you are the person that you're looking for. If you got hell within you, then the monster is going to show up in your third dimension. But as soon as you clean up you, soon as you are at peace, soon as all you have within you is love, that those people, those men, women, all of them, they're going to show up with love, integrity, honor, and respect for you. All right? I want y'all to know I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. We're going to clean this up, sisters. Yeah, I'm holding you accountable because we are the source. We got to get back to source. Because all these beings that come into this dimension, 100% of them come from your womb. When we clean up our soil, then the beings that are in this third dimension will automatically clean up. All right, Diva Laree, I want y'all to know I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm going to try to see y'all tomorrow, okay? If y'all like this, send a like. Go in the inbox and say you appreciate the message. Abdul, Jay, Sean, I love you. We got the Fifth Dimensional Woman coming up. The Fifth Dimensional Woman tour coming up. I want to see y'all. Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, and New York. I love you, Diva. I'm out. Peace. Bye-bye. UNA. Yeah.